Hey guys, it's Justine. As someone who's been in the health field for about 9 or 10 years now and is a health coach and a professional and helps others to be happy and healthy, I feel it's my job and my duty to talk the talk as well as walk the walk. So what I did today is, well, last week I went to a doctor and I got my hormones tested and my thyroid, and I got the results today, and I posted on Facebook. I'm at Happy Healthy People. Just sort of my realization today is that I can no longer have any sort of stimulants or caffeine ever. So let's go through why. Now, I'm 35 years old, so this is part of why I decided to go and get tested. Just, things, when you reach your 30s, you're a little more in tune to your body versus when you're in your 20s, where you're sort of like, everything's always fine and you're completely oblivious. So lately with my job, I work for a corporate wellness company. I've been asked to do some research and come up with some seminars for women's health and menopause and things like that. So in my research, I was learning about all the different hormones and bioidentical hormones. And on a trip recently to one of our clients in Seattle, I actually sat next to this lady, and we got to talking about that, and she referred me to her doctor here because she's on bioidentical hormones, and she told me how she felt before being on them. Granted, she's in her late 50s and I'm only 35, and how she feels now. So it was really sort of the sign from above to, hey Justine, maybe you should pay attention to what's happening and go get it tested. Now, my symptoms lately have been, granted, I exercise all the time. I eat right, I eat breakfast, I eat every 2 or 3 hours like you're supposed to. And my energy's always been pretty good up until about the last maybe 6 months or so. I've noticed that I'm just constantly tired all the time, even if I get enough sleep. And then, of course, I'll have caffeine, and then that really doesn't even do anything. Sometimes it gives me a headache, sometimes it makes me feel even more tired. So I'm like, okay, well, that's weird. And then I've been a little bit forgetful lately, which is also strange. And then I've had trouble falling asleep at night. So even if I'm trying to get asleep at a normal time, it'll be like 1 or 2 in the morning where I finally get to sleep. So I've just been a mess. I'm like, okay, I'm totally off. Let me get tested. So what I did is I just went to, again, just go to a family practitioner. Now this is if you feel like you've had trouble losing weight lately, or if you're a little bit tired, or you just feel a little off. I just went to a general doctor, and I asked to have my thyroid tested, my estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and then later I'm going to get my adrenal glands and my cortisol level tested. So I did a blood test, and then you also do a saliva test. You want to do both. So my results are that all of my hormones are a bit low. But the most surprising result, because she measured the TSH, which is your thyroid-stimulating hormone, and technically it looks like I would be in a normal range, but she also requested to measure the thyroid antibodies, and my number is ridiculously high. It's like crazy high. So I said, okay, well, what does that mean? And she said, basically, that's sort of an indication that I could be developing or have hypothyroidism. Now, hypothyroidism is a very common term used these days. A lot of people say they have it. And then basically what happens is they put you on a medication for the rest of your life. Now, me being a health person and a natural person, medications, I don't do medications. Number one, I get all the side effects. And number two, I find that a lot of medications are usually sort of a band-aid for covering up the root of the problem. Now, the root of the problem in my case is that when I was in my 20s, I started, drinking coffee and caffeine and things. And then when I was trying to lose weight, because I put on 45 pounds in college, and I did everything wrong to lose it, right? This is before I became a health coach and I'm doing what I'm doing now. So I did everything wrong to lose it. So I took all those diet pills that have all the stimulants in it, and then you're like shaking and you're sweating all day and you just feel horrible, but it's to boost your thyroid. And then sometimes I would do caffeine pills, and just, I would do energy drinks and the Red Bulls. And then only up until a year ago did I stop taking those 5-hour energies. And the only reason I did is because they started to create these holes in my teeth, because they eat at the enamel. And my dentist said, well, you have, I never had cavities. And suddenly I had cavities because of these energy drinks that were eating my enamel. So I stopped with those. But I still would have my coffee here and there. And I remember once I went a whole year and a half without any coffee whatsoever, and I felt awesome. But it is, you know, a habit, and so I had trouble just completely stopping again. But basically, so my lesson is, because she said, well, you can do these medications, and I said, well, no, I'm going to improve this the natural way, because I know that my adrenal glands are shot, because when you have adrenal glands, they're about the size of walnuts, they're about this big, and they're on the back of your kidneys. So there's these poor little guys, and what happens is when we feel stress, just through, you know, work or relationships, if you're stressed, then cortisol, the adrenal glands are stimulated and cortisol is released in the body. Now cortisol is the belly fat makes belly fat, and it makes it a lot tougher to lose weight because it's part of the fight or flight response. So if you think about it, I've been drinking, you know, caffeine and stimulants for 17 years or something, which is, oh my gosh, those poor little guys. So when I was studying for my master's in nutrition, one thing I learned is about adrenal fatigue, and it could take about anywhere from 6 months up to 24 months to completely heal. And I know that since all of these things are all related, because I've been abusing my poor adrenal glands, and I know I have excess cortisol happening, and then it hurts my poor thyroid. My poor thyroid needs to rest, and I need to get to bed earlier and get my 8 or 9 hours of sleep. So this is what I'm going to be doing naturally, because I can fix this the natural way. I'm not going on medication. The first thing that you do if you have a low thyroid is always eat breakfast. Always eat it within about an hour of waking up. The second thing is you want to eat every 2 to 3 hours. No, you don't really want to go over 3 hours without eating, because it keeps your metabolism boosted as much as possible. Also, of course, we want to exercise. Ideally, we want to get to sleep between about 10 and 10:30 or earlier is for optimal hormone balancing, and that's been my thing. I've been a night owl forever, and you know, going to bed at 12, 1, sometimes 2 in the morning is normal for me, and that's not okay anymore. It's just not. So I'm going to be switching my sleeping habits here. And also something I'm going to be adding to my diet. I recently started adding coconut oil anyway, because it does help boost the thyroid, but I only started a few weeks ago. So I'm going to be adding another tablespoon. So I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons a day of that. I'm also going to be adding some iodine into my diet. Now, iodine comes from seaweed and sea vegetables. So I have some dulce granules I got at the health food store, kelp, any sort of seaweed. I found these baked seaweed snacks in the store the other day, so I'm going to go get some more of those. And the doctor gave me a vitamin with some calcium and some magnesium in it. So through quitting caffeine, getting proper sleep, adding some iodine, and increasing my coconut oil, I am going to see in 6 weeks how my numbers have changed, because I know that they will be better. Like, I know this. And sometimes in whatever job you're in, whatever your career is, sometimes we always advise people to do things because we know it's for their best interest, but sometimes we forget to take the advice ourselves. So this is my lesson of the day. So that's my spiel about thyroid and caffeine. And I will keep you guys informed as to how I progress in the next several months. All right, I will talk to you later.